Are we recording? We gotta make sure. Oh, two participants recording. I believe it's recording. Let's double check. It is recording, and you just want to double check these things.
All right. I'm missing your voice. What's going on?
How about that? We're back, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, boys and girls, we are here on a beautiful Monday evening with the man himself. Look who it is. This is Stirring the Pot with Donkey Kane and our very special guest, Pretty Papi. Uh,
Thank you.
Pretty Papi, I had to break out the beautiful flower in your honor.
I appreciate that.
I'm sorry if I mumbled a little bit. I'm sorry if I mute the microphone a little bit, but we're not editing anything. It all stays raw. We never edit anything on STP. We just want to have some fun with the talent. And if we maybe use a little colorful word or two, hey, I'm not taking that out. There's no beeps in this stuff. We just have a lot of fun with the talent that we, the fans, get to see at our local events. And boys and girls, we have a special one right here because not only do we have fun with One Pretty Poppy, there's a story that we're going to get into right after, maybe a little 5-10 minutes that we're going to throw at Pretty Poppy that we absolutely love, one of our best memories ever. But Pretty Poppy, welcome to the show. I thank you for spending your time with us to maybe pull back the curtain just a smidge. We don't have to do it a lot, and just get to know our local talent a little bit more. Thank you so much for spending time with us, sir.
Thank you for having me. And technical difficulties here nor there. I mean, in the famous words of Slick Wagner Brown, we're live, pal.
Well, and I can hear that laugh behind it too. What an iconic laugh does one Slick Wagner Brown have? Oh my goodness. Boys and girls, if you've never heard Slick Wagner Brown laugh, tickle him a little bit. He'll laugh like an MFer. His laugh is just, you can hear it a mile away, I swear. But we are going to have a lot of fun. I did break out the rose. I kind of stole it because you gave it to my love, Mia Moore, at a training day, and I kind of swiped it from her. I don't know if she didn't want it or if I just stole it from underneath her nose and she still doesn't know, but she will now. But I have an authentic, Pretty Poppy rose right here on STP and on studio, if you will, live, because we're live, pal. You come out, you look beautiful, you've got the glasses, your gear, it shows you're Pretty Poppy. It's got the roses, it stands out. You have the mirror, you've got the music. When you're not in your gear, excuse me, you look absolutely gorgeous, and I hate you for it because look at this, boys and girls. I mean, look at that, and look at this. I mean, come on. But my point being is, you come out of the curtain, you catch our eyes. We know what you're doing to us. If we're supposed to cheer, we cheer. If we're supposed to boo, we boo. And you give us those signals coming through the curtain because sometimes, most of the time, Pretty Poppy's a bad guy. But sometimes he's a good guy, and I don't give a shit, and I continue to boo him. We'll get into that a little bit. So Pretty Poppy, let's start right there with the gear. Looking like a professional wrestler coming through those curtains with a song, with a look, with the gear. What's going on with the gear? Where's it come from? Who's the maker? What's the thought behind it? Give us some of that action.
Oh, we starting off hot. I love it.
We are. We are hot
And
on
and
STP.
I'm gonna have to look up his handle. I'm
Oh,
definitely gonna get some heat for this, but let's rewind back actually to give some background information for the fans and how the gear came about and where my journey started in
well,
professional wrestling.
we do that on STP, but we just go here, there, there, here, 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 there. We go like a roller coaster on the timeline, but we can start wherever our beautiful guest wants to start. You want to start right from the beginning? We can do that, my friend. And then we can meld into the look of one pretty Papi. We can do that.
Nah, I got you. Yeah, we'll backtrack a little bit and then come back. But
We can.
I I started my journey in 2021. It was a little bit towards the end of the pandemic, and I actually started down in Atlanta, Georgia, at
Oh,
Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall's Nightmare Factory Wrestling School.
huh. That's where you
Eh,
originally started training.
Yes. Mhm.
Excellent. Okay.
And we'll get back to that story. But basically, one of the other students that I was training with, his father actually was a gear maker, and he had designed some gears for some people that came out on AEW Dark at the time when they had that show going on. And I was actually one of the people that approached him to help me make gear, especially for our upcoming student showcase, which was my debut match. And I
Okay.
gave him the concept of who Pretty Poppy is and what I was looking to do. And that's where the whole flowers came into be and the
Okay.
roses and the black and red and was Pretty Poppy on my trunks.
So you always were pretty Papi. There was no like, Christmas creature like Cain did or anything like that. It was always pretty Papi.
It was always Pretty Poppy from the start, yes.
Okay. Please continue. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, no, no problem at all. But yeah, that his father was the person that and I'll have to get his handle later on.
Okay.
And if not, I'll post it later on for sure. But he was
Okay.
the one that helped me to design the gear and then make the gear, and then it was ready for our student showcase. And ever since then, I've had those same trunks and kind of changed the color up here and there recently, but it's pretty much been the same for the most part.
Well, you got to have more than one selection to understand from the athletes that we speak to. You want to be prepared because you never know when stuff might rip, tear, or whatever. You might get a little manhandled, by a slick Wagner Brown or such. You just never know. So it's always good to have more than one set of gear. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Um, yeah, just like anything else, though, unfortunately, gear can be expensive, and
Very.
especially especially at this level of the game. Still working our
Yeah.
way up. At least speaking from upon myself, and still saving as much as I can to get, as said, a new sets of gear. But they're definitely in the works. I will say that in the
All right.
works to get in new gear for sure. And I know over the past year, I've definitely got new, protective gear like knee pads, elbow pads, new singlet, and new wrestling shoes as well to
Okay.
wear.
Uh, well, again, you come out the curtain and you look like a professional wrestler. You look like you've put time, effort, and money into your character when you come and perform for us. And again, not half-assing it. We speak about that on STP all the time. You're not coming out in maybe a pair of jeans, some sneakers, and a tank top, and you're trying to get your career going, but you just can't. You don't have the funds. A lot of the young talent will just throw on all sorts of kind of funky stuff. I've seen it, but you have professional gear. You look fantastic, and as a fan to wrestler, I absolutely applaud you for that. Excuse me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Um, so Pretty Poppy, the character, was actually born at the Nightmare Factory.
Yes, 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 he was. Pretty Poppy was a conception that I had, and down there it was the beginners training camp, and I was under the tutelage of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and
Okay.
QT Marshall, and a couple of other assistant coaches, including WCW legend Glacier. He was also
Oh,
um, somebody who helped me out a little bit.
okay.
And we would have promo classes on a regular with Cody, and some of them
Nice.
were in groups, some of them were one on one. And I
This is with
remember,
this is with Cody there live, yeah?
correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so just a little bit of backstory with that. That's around the time Cody was still with AEW. He was doing his
Mhm.
reality television show. He had just had his child. Such a busy schedule for that man. And
Yeah.
even with that busy schedule, he still found the time
Wow.
to be with us on a weekly basis and
That's
help
amazing.
train us, train all the beginners.
Mm.
And I remember one of these promo classes that we had, I did a one-on-one kind of deal with him, and I told him the concept of who Pretty Poppy is and who I want to portray myself as, which is a little bit of myself, just turned up a little extra. I am somebody that, likes to go out, party, meet the ladies and all that. And I told him the name and he loved it. He loved the idea. And from there, we just took off with it.
So there's a few minds behind Pretty Poppy.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in the old saying where it takes a village to raise a child.
Mhm.
I was definitely that said child in the Nightmare Factory, espe- especially being around a group of great men and women, great talent. Met so many incredible people there from all over the world, and being one of the younger guys and one of the only guys actually who had no prior experience to professional wrestling
Oh wow.
before going there to the Nightmare Factory. Definitely, it was a big reality check, and it was also like it was one of the greatest experiences I can definitely share. But so I'm like kind of putting myself back in there, like how cool it was, and I totally
Yeah.
lost track of the question. But
No, no, no. That's okay. We were talking the promos and the building of the character behind Pretty Poppy. But look at this, boys and girls. He's getting lost up in the moment of being in this environment of going from never being a professional wrestler, no training behind him. No, I mean he's been a fan. Obviously, you start off as a fan. That's why you become the wrestler. But being in the ring is so much different. You have no clue what it's like being in there until you actually get in there. I mean, I've been in there, but I've never trained to take a bump and stuff such to a degree. I'm not saying I am truly untrained. I've been in there for safety precautions. People, professionals have shown me, but it's not like I went through months and months of bumping and drills and stuff like that. It was for a couple things. I was just getting stretched out and fucked up anyway. So it's not. But anyways, that's besides here near there. But look at this, boys and girls, getting lost up in the moment of being in that environment of like, it, I did that shit, and not only did I do it, I did it with some big names, with some great minds, and I got my character started from some absolutely amazing people in the industry that's established already. That for me, look at this. Can you see him? I'm very skinny. There's goosey bumps all over as we're speaking, my friend, and I wasn't even there. But I feel them for you as a fan because you getting lost in the moment as we're speaking here. That's just amazing to me as a fan, and it's one of these things like I don't have the balls. Like Lucas Chase, he left everything behind uh, on the East Coast, went to the Dustin Rhodes training
mhm.
facility in Texas, and just took the biggest chance on himself and his career, and for his family, and for himself. I don't have the balls to do that. Lucas Chase does. Pretty Poppy, he does too. He's got the balls to take a chance on himself, get in there, and really persevere and scratch and claw. So again, my hat's off to you as an athlete, as a performer, as a professional wrestler, from fan to such. It takes a lot. I say all the time, hardest thing I feel, one of the hardest things in the universe to become a singles successful wrestler. That is so hard. And we see him on TV, yes. We see him on the indie scene, yes. That's only a minuscule of the population on this planet, my friend. And Pretty Poppy, I don't mean to be running with all of this, but it makes me very excited to have one of our local athletes here and just really kind of getting lost in that moment within conversation. And it gets me all excited as a fan. So I'm sorry I started chit chatting like that. Um, so
No, no,
please take us
absolutely.
back.
Keep going.
Uh, please, please take us back to the academy when you're building the Nightmare Factory. I'm sorry, the Nightmare Factory when you're building Pretty Poppy because it does take a village to make a singles wrestler. Never mind a tag team, never mind a faction, and it does take a lot of good minds behind. one of the students that are in there at a time. So please take us back there and really building Pretty Poppy, and getting to the point where, why aren't you still there, and how is the transition from there to where we're at now?
Okay, I got you. So to start off a little bit even further, um, back in 2020, I actually attended Southern Connecticut State University. I went to college. First male actually in my family to go to college and graduate with a bachelor's degree. Uh,
Excellent.
and But again, 2020, as we all remember, was unfortunately the start of the pandemic and COVID-19. And my future was very uncertain, just like a lot of people's. Didn't know what was next for me, but I did know for sure pro wrestling was the next step, the next journey. I've been a lifelong fan since I was a kid. Um, and I had remembered on back when it was Twitter, X now, but Cody had sent out a tweet and it basically said, I will be starting up a new training facility for beginner professional wrestlers, for anybody that's interested to become a professional wrestler down in Atlanta, Georgia. I remember I saw it and I was like, that's pretty cool.
And you're
And
living where at the time? You're living where?
I'm living here in Connecticut at the time.
Wow. See, again, boys and girls, the balls, the conios there. Not the conios. Oh my God, that's a different animal. Oh my God. We gotta edit that one. I'm sorry. Please take us back. See what happens when I interject. Oh my God.
Nah, it's your show, man. Let's just have some fun. But yeah, getting back to that, yeah, I remember you had to apply to go, and I still believe the process is the same now, but you had to apply online on their website to attend the Nightmare Factory, and they were only taking a certain amount of students per camp, and it was advertised to be a 3-month camp, 12 weeks, and it was meant for beginners only, but they were also taking some professional wrestlers with prior experience.
Okay.
And I remember I had applied and I actually had the call to be part of the inaugural, the very first camp for the Nightmare Factory. And I remember getting that phone call and it was like, you hear stories all the time of guys whenever they got signed to WWE and they're like, is this a rib? Is this somebody playing a prank on me right now? Like, is this for real? Like, I couldn't believe it. Um, and it was crazy getting that kind of that over the phone interview type deal and being accepted. Fortunately, though, at that time, this is still in 2020. Um, obviously, you had to pay to go to attend the Nightmare Factory, and I had not had the full funds to attend. But luckily for me, what they did for me was put me on a waiting list, and this
Oh,
way I wouldn't have to reapply, and they would call me up whenever the next opportunity came about.
all right.
Fast forward 2021, and Camp 3 is coming around the corner, and they give me a call. Are you still interested, or do you have all the funds? And I did, and I took a big leap. Never been on my own my whole life, and I drove and packed my car and drove down
Oh,
to Atlanta, Georgia, back in April of 2021,
that's
and
amazing.
that's when I started my pro wrestling journey.
That is such a beautiful story to share with us, the fan. We don't hear these kind of stories at the merch table, my friend. That's why we get to have the talent and be able to really sit down. Such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that, because not everybody's journey is the same. Um, and yours is, as I mentioned, Mr. Lucas Chase, kind of similar. You took a big chance. Very different times in your lives, being age. He has a family already. He's a little bit older. He's already been in wrestling a little bit. But it's the same thing. Taking that journey and just taking a chance on yourself, your life, your career, what could be, what could not be. You just never know. Um, Now they say if you get past your first, bump or two, and sometimes you puke viciously, violently on the side of the old ring, but if you come back, that really means something. So it seems like Pretty Poppy took those first few bumps, came back, and took more and more. and more, and was like, this is what I'm looking for right here. Are you really looking to make this a lifelong dream where this is absolutely your livelihood for yourself, your family, whatever comes in to yourself and a future family?
Oh, 100%. I knew once I got to Georgia, and as homesick as I was, and as unsure what the future held for me, and even if I was gonna make it, there were stories of guys and girls dropping out of the camps before the camps even finished.
Right.
So everything was scary to say the least. That's probably the best word I could describe it. But once I took those first bumps and getting in the ring and hitting those ropes and wear and tear on my body, and as cliche as it sounds for many, like I fell in love instantly. Like I fell in love with the grind, with the pain, with having my body marked up. Excuse me, and just the whole process. I fell in love with all of it, and
Wow.
there. I won't mention names, but there was an individual that did end up throwing up during the camp from all the workouts and everything. So like, but not me, man. I fell in love instantly, and I knew from then on, and especially when the camp finished and I had my very first match, that this is something that I want to do. Um, Not just in ring, but be in the business for the rest
Mhm.
of my life.
Wow. Amazing. Any athletic experience previous to going to Georgia?
Yes, I wouldn't say too many years, but I was a amateur wrestler back in high school.
Oh, okay.
For a couple years, and I fell in love with that too because part of me always knew that I wanted to be a professional wrestler.
Mhm.
Obviously, amateur wrestling completely different, but part of me knew this is gonna help me in some aspects to get into the business and to be athletic and be physical. And I thought, what other sport? Obviously, the name is in it, wrestling. The physicality is kind of similar. You walk out and it's one on one and it's on a mat and it's in front of people and
Mhm.
you are at granted it's a different stage, but
Right.
you're on this platform where you get to compete and essentially
Absolutely.
perform in front of other people and everything that came with amateur wrestling I fell in love with. So transitioning from that to pro wrestling completely different, but I will say it did help me in the beginning stages as far as a little bit of athleticism, having my footwork down, being able to do rolls, um, and just take some of the physicality. So yeah, a little bit of amateur wrestling in the background before attending the Nightmare Factory.
Excellent. I've been to wrestling tournaments. I had in a previous life, if you will. My stepson, we got him into the local wrestling at the old Boys and Girls Club. We're going to get into that with one pretty Papi. We have to because that's where my story comes from. And I know we're almost 30 minutes deep and I didn't even speak about it. But um, your journey right at the beginning took us a half hour with me rambling on as a fan. But that whole that whole story, just where to we got right now with the amateur wrestling, all of it, amazing. And I thank you for sharing with us, the fans, because that's why we get to sit down and some of the guys and girls they want to do maybe a little character action, and a little themselves action. Some want to do all characters, some want to do all themselves. I spoke to a plastic Funko facsimile of One Day in a Man for 2.5 hours. So that tells you something right there. Thank you for sharing so much because this is the stuff that we as fans and maybe aspiring wrestlers, if there's one watching, and I know you deal with a lot of the younger crowd that we're going to get into at the Boys Club, that may watch this and get a little bit of inspiration or even a little bit more than one pretty Papi's already given them in their young lives. And that's kind of where I'd really like to jump to. Oh, no, 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 we can't. Please transition from the Nightmare Factory. And where are you now? Where are you training? Where are you keeping your chops good? I see you at a few places out there, but where's kind of your home base right now?
Okay, so yeah, so try to keep it short, but I'll fast forward a bit. So I attended the Nightmare Factory. That was from April until the end of June 2021. I had my very first match. It was on a student showcase, which is actually up on YouTube, and I had a tag team match. It was me and Dominic, not Mysterio, no relation to the Mysterio family.
Not Dirty Dom?
uh, no, no, not Dirty Dom. It was Dominic Textera against Chris Sanson, and his nickname was the Coach, Aaron Young, the Coach. God, I miss that kid. He's an interesting character if you get to meet him for sure. But we had a tag team match, and I ended up winning my debut match. It was pretty
Wow,
cool. Yeah,
awesome.
don't hear many stories of winning debut matches, and I got to do it in front of the other students, in front of families, in front of my family. They actually flew down from Connecticut all the way to Georgia to come see
Wow,
me. So
that's
that
amazing.
yeah, that was it was pretty and this was also towards the end of pandemic, so it was a bit harder to pack out the place, but
Yeah.
we still managed to put it on and Cody was there, QT was there. And at that time Cody had just had Liberty. So it was crazy because he had his daughter, he was filming his reality show, AEW executive, and his sister, um, I believe it was Teal, and his mother were actually there at the student showcase watching
Nice.
the
Wow.
entire thing. Um, Took a picture with Cody and QT after. Cody had to, book it after, obviously go back to his daughter. But it was cool, getting to have that experience for a debut on
Yeah.
a big platform and a great match. It was incredible. So we fast forward now, that's 2021, and I had moved back to Connecticut, and I was kind of floundering, trying to find out what's the next step.
Mhm.
And long and behold, and I have to tell this quick backstory because it'll make sense
Mhm.
how I got to where I am now. I'm working in the local gym. I won't mention names because they don't pay me. So, um, but let's just say I was working in a local gym here in Connecticut, and I come across a Mr. Elijah Six.
Oh,
Yes, I come across from the firm Elijah Six, and you know, introduce myself, start talking to him. We get to talk about wrestling. He says, "Hey, by the way, I don't know where you're training right now, but I train at this dojo called Test of Strength, and it's actually located here in Connecticut in East Hartford. You should check it out." I said, "Okay, thank you." Exchange information, and that was that. And fast forward to January around the new year of 2022. And that was the first time I walked into the Tesla Strength Dojo
mm.
and met a Mr. Slick Wagner Brown, a Bobby Ocean, and a whole crop of talent that, man, what a story that is in itself. And
uh,
that, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I didn't want to interrupt, but just walking in this environment for the very first time, and I speak about Tesla Strength an awful lot on STP, but the building itself, you think you're not in the right place first off. Then, like when the first time I went there, I got to the parking lot and then I had to re GPS it because I'm like, Dad, we're not in the right spot, dude. Like we are so lost. I re GPSed it, and my little Australian female voice on my GPS said, "You are here." So I guess I was there. So you walk up a set of stairs, you go down a hallway, kind of, not long, but it's got some length. Then you take a left, you go down another hallway. It's not really long, got a little bit of length. You take a hard right, and then you take a really another hard right. And there's a door with a room and a fucking ring. You walking into the dojo for the very first time, seeing this environment, how intimate it is, and obviously, you're not going to find a facility the Nightmare Factory offers across, the nation or the globe or anything. But give us your first thoughts of walking into the dojo, because you see the likes of a Bobby and a Slick and such. But just the room itself, it almost makes you stand back and be like, wait, are you fucking serious right now?
Yeah, that well, let me be careful with the words I choose. I don't want to get beat up by the double champ right now, Mr. Slick Wagner Brown.
Oh God,
But
let's not even go there. Oh.
that's another story for another day. But uh I it was humbling to walk into those doors and see the dojo for the first time. And obviously, nothing's going to compare to the Nightmare Factory as far as facility wise. But when I tell you I felt more at home the moment I walked in, something about it just was like, again, humbling, but at the same time exciting because it's like, okay, this is the next chapter in my journey. And this is what's going to get me from just doing a regular showcase to the independence
Mhm.
and beyond. So it was, yeah, like you said, you look and you're like, huh, this is it.
This is it. Yeah.
But at the same time, it felt great because it was like, I don't know, I kind of am a fan of like old school dingy like gyms and
Mhm.
workout gyms. Not calling the dojo dingy or anything, but
No, it's just so small.
it's just such a small area, a small
Yeah.
space. And also another thought was like, how the hell did they fit this ring in here? How do you fit so many students in here? But it was great, man. I was greeted and like everybody was so nice to me.
Nice.
And even when I told them where I came from, like they didn't have to be nice. They could have been like, "Well, who the hell is this guy? Who does he think he is? He's coming from Cody school."
Right.
But it was the complete opposite. And from then on, Bobby and Slick they've been like family to tell you the truth.
That's
I
excellent.
yeah, it's been great.
I've been to multiple training sessions over there. It's a lot of fun, boys. I laugh because I hear Alex cutting. I hear Slick cutting. I see Bobby just waving his head. I just see and hear sights and sounds when I talk the dojo. Um, yeah, it's a very intimate place. Um, and I'm not saying that it's um any, not that it's lackluster, because it's all about the career. It's all about the psychology, the promos, the basics, the fundamentals, the big stuff, the everything. Because Test of Strength, they kind of are a very multifaceted learning facility. It's not just here's the fundamentals. Good luck, kid. This is a multifaceted work the hard camp, stuff like that. I mean, and I'm sure again, the Nightmare Factory, similar aspects, but everybody trains differently. And going from the Nightmare Factory to the TOS Dojo, it's a learn, unlearn, relearn kind of thing, my man. Is it not?
Oh, absolutely. Oh man. Again, a reality check, and I was quickly humbled from where I came from. And not to say that the Nightmare Factory didn't prepare me at all, because they did,
Right.
but TOS took my game to a whole different level and just built upon the foundation. I'll say this: the Nightmare Factory created Pretty Poppy, but the TOS Dojo pretty much built Pretty Poppy and molded Pretty Poppy. And I evolved within this short amount of time that I've been there. And it shows even at events and shows and matches. Um, but again, getting lost and like putting myself back in that first time meeting, and it's just really cool to like see it to come up and really grind and put in the work,
Yes.
especially somewhere like the TLS Dojo which again, like you said, we don't just teach you how to wrestle. We teach you about the business and how to get to that next level and to prepare yourself for any stage that you want to be on.
Mhm.
Um, no matter where that is, Slick Wagner Brown, Bobby Ocean, Alex Rojas, everyone at the TOS Dojo work their asses off to get us to wherever we need or want to be, and not to just flounder or just stick to one level or just flatline. So
and,
yeah, go ahead.
and a lack of challenging yourself as an athlete. I see some of the younger talent that's been around for a little bit, a few years or so, maybe even 4 or 5. That this is their dream. They've been a fan for since they were a kid, and Rey Mysterio may be one of their favorites or whatever the kind of stuff. That's where some of them have come up. They started wrestling, but they kind of plateau and they don't
That's the
challenge
word.
themselves. They plateau and don't challenge themselves. But test of strength doesn't let that happen with their students over there. There is none of that. They push, they make you challenge yourself, you get better. Oh, you think you got better? We can make you even a little bit better. And we challenge you again and again and again and again. So TOS is basically my home base. That's I've been going since training day 12. Foggy's been going since training day 1. Fuck him. I hate him for that. I hate him for that because I wasn't around when TOS actually first started. Um, I want to get into when a talent comes through the curtain, how you work a crowd or the lack of how you don't work a crowd. Now, Pretty Papi comes through that curtain. He's got his music. He's dancing. He's swaying. He's got his mirror. He's got his glasses. He's got his beautiful look, his hair, his gear, his skin, his smile, everything. I hate you. It's beautiful, but it's very professional wrestler coming through that curtain. Now, when I first started seeing you, you're coming out, you're a bad guy, and that's been a consistent basics except for a few sprinkles here and there. Let's talk about why Pretty Papi is a heel and not a good guy on the reg because you've got this beautiful look. You would think you would want more of the ladies to come and magnetize to you from the crowd. But I see, and I'm not saying anything about Pretty Papi, I see some of them scoff at you because they're like, he thinks he's all that, but he really ain't, kind of thing. Talk to us about Pretty Papi being a bad guy instead of a good guy.
So it's funny that you bring that up, and you also mentioned it a little earlier in the interview. But the difference with me, or that I like to say that separates me from a lot of other professional wrestlers at this level, I try to blur the lines between reality and fiction. And what I mean by that is, I I actually learned this from Slick. I never try to insult the audience intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on anybody. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just
No.
saying with that is that what you see out there is pretty much me. But again, it just turned up and it's just dialed and it just depends on the reaction I get from the audience. So when I tell you that when I come out and the way I act is based off of the audience and their reaction, that is what it is. It's I want to give the people what they came to see or what they don't want to see. So and one of my favorite quotes in professional wrestling comes from Booker T, who is one of my all-time favorites. The only luck you're going to get in this business is preparation.
Mhm.
So the way I treat the way I treat my matches, promos, interviews, podcasts, I try to be as professional as I can because, and then going back to I love quotes as you can tell, but going back to a quote from Cody one time was that You don't dress for the job you have. You dress for the job that you want. And I've kind of taken that mindset ever since I started was, I'm going to dress, I'm going to prepare, I'm going to wrestle and perform for the job that I do want. Even though I'm at this stage right now, very early in my career, independent wrestling, not making a whole lot of money, but even with all of that, I still don't want to insult the audience intelligence and prepare as much as I can and just give the best, whatever you want to call it, match, performance, segment, entertainment, pro wrestling, sports entertainment, however you like to refer it as. I want to be one of the best at it. And to do that, I have to be a professional and again, act for the job that I want, which is
Mhm.
the bigger stage.
Um, your name says Pretty Poppy, but my big mouth will scream Ugly Poppy. And I even get some of the peeps to kind of follow in. They enjoy it. I enjoy it. We have a lot of fun. Now, we were at a show at your home base, literally, in Bristol, at the Bristol Boys and Girls Club. It's a newer facility. Love it, love it, love it, comparing to the old one. And Pretty Poppy's on the bill. And he's going against this big giant pain in the ass of his. Holy cow, was he a pain in the ass?
Oh, I know where this is going.
And now I spoke about this topic to Patrick Saint.
I heard
Uh,
that.
yeah, and you were part of that topic, so I want to keep that in tune here.
And not
And
to cut you off, but I also heard that in the TOS Youngboy podcast interview as well. So
and
seems to be a trend going on.
it's just a memory that sticks, my man. It comes back. I relive it and relive it. It's one of my ultimate favorite wrestling memories ever, and it involves about a dozen little future psychopaths. So we're at the Bristol Boys and Girls Club, and Pretty Poppy. Pre-show, I go around, not every single show, but I'll hit the record button going through the doors, and whatever happens, happens. It could be a 5-minute run, 10-minute, 20, 30-minute run. I don't really like to do them too long, but you never know how long it'll run, all depending on who I run into, just to see if we can get some of the talent on film and have a lot of fun between the talent and the fans. So what I tried to do, and I know we should do a backstory first, but I'm not gonna. Pretty Poppy has this little fan club up on the bleachers. And his family, by the way, is in the front of the bleachers. So his family's here, and his crew, if you will, are way up on the top of the bleachers. Now, here's me being a jackass. I'm trying to get the younger crowd. Now, when I mean the younger crowd, they're 8, 9, 10, 12 years old at best. And they are under the mentorship, it's seeming, under one Pretty Poppy. And we're going to get into that. So I try to get these kids because I know this is Poppy's home. I see his family is here. I'm trying to get his family and his little posse up there to chant Ugly Poppy when he comes out. And they are giving me the business, Pretty Poppy. That young crowd of yours there. They absolutely wanted no part of that. I tried getting your family to do it. I got a lot of snickers, and then I got your mom, who was absolutely zipped up. And almost kind of like this from me, if you will. And I don't blame her. It is what it is. I would too. If I was in her shoes with me randomly coming in my face with a fucking camera. Absolutely. So I couldn't get them to just chant Ugly Poppy on film just like 2 or 3 times. I just said for like 10 seconds. They absolutely wanted it, and they started yelling at me and stuff. So fast forward into the event, Patrick Saint was against his opponent, and he yells out, which is one of his things, who wants to see a dead body? And every single one of them, future psychopaths, said, yeah! I stood up and I said, what in the holy hell is the matter with you little people up there? I can't get you to scream of me, Papi, but you want to see a dead body right now? Oh my God. Such an amazing memory, sir. Please tell us about this group of minions you've got up on the bleacher on the bleachers and why they are so pro Papi when I was trying to get, and I was the only one in the entire place because your mom, she was like, good luck with all of this anti-Papi stuff, you know. I was the only anti-Papi. You were at your home base, and these kids were absolutely amazing. It was such a great memory for me with your family there. Talk to us about that day, please, sir.
Oh man. Well, just to give the fans some context, if there's anything that this story has told us is that I don't even have to do much in my matches sometimes to get a reaction or have a memorable moment with people in the audience for them to go home and remember Pretty Papi. So
Yes, sir.
I'll backtrack a little again, going back a couple years. Now we're going back all the way to 2017. Mind you, 2017, around that time was WrestleMania 33, I believe, in Orlando. I remember that WrestleMania a lot because I actually attended that WrestleMania. And again,
Is that where it rained?
no, so that one was when the Hardy Boys came
Oh,
back.
okay. I'm sorry.
And
I don't mean to interrupt.
no, you're fine. But so again, lifelong fan. Went to WrestleMania, had a great time. Coming back, that kind of gave me the itch, like, okay, maybe this is something I really want to do when I'm done with school. But in the meantime, I was like, besides school, I got to do something with myself. Like, I can't just, hit the books and then just go home and just, I need to be productive. And what's also something that I like to do, but it's going to get me to professional wrestling and help me in the business. I was an amateur wrestler, like I said before, in high school. I had or I still have a passion for amateur wrestling. I thought, why not coach? Why not help out at the Wrestle Boys and Girls Club, which is where I would train in the off season when I was an amateur wrestler. Good buddies with the head coach. He actually was my coach back in high school, and he would always tell me, "Hey, we're always looking for volunteer coaches. Like, you're more than welcome to come down whenever." Okay, cool. Fast forward, I ended up joining the Bristol Gladiators. I, joined the coaching staff, and since 2017 up until now, I've been a coach for amateur wrestling for the Bristol Gladiators for a little over 7 years now. And in between all that, of course, like I told you, I went to the Nightmare Factory, became a professional wrestler, came back home, came back to Connecticut, trying to find my way in the early stages of my career, still coaching. And the kids, once they found out that I was a professional wrestler and that I was in a ring, like just like they see on TV all the time, oh, they lost it. They went berserk and they loved it. And they said, "You need to tell us, coach, when you're wrestling, because we want to come see you live." I said, "Okay." Fast forward, it finally took, and this is why I'm a firm believer in this. Everything happens for a reason because, again, coming from TOS, coming from the TOS dojo, still, we're talking last year now, 2022. I had debuted for TOS, but I was still just doing training days. Hadn't been on a lot of bookings or any shows or events elsewhere. Xander, who is the promoter for Tetsu Pro, based in Bristol, he gave me my first big opportunity as far as outside the TOS umbrella.
Mhm.
Had a fatal four way. Patrick Saint was one of the members in that fatal four way.
Sorry.
And when I love Pat now. It's good. It's water under the bridge because he did end up winning that match and but that night was insane because my my little wrestlers came out, my students, if you will, family came out, friends came out. And around that time, people were like, "Oh yeah, we definitely got to come see you." And I'm a firm believer is I don't believe it till I see it. Sometimes, people say they'll show up, sometimes they don't. When I tell you I was not expecting a homecoming esque, like big crowd reaction, cheers, like I couldn't even hear my theme song when I came out.
Awesome.
That was like one of the coolest moments. And I'm getting choked up just talking about it right now because like putting myself back there, like it's so crazy thinking about it. I had, and I'm not gonna mention names, but I had some of the boys in tears and like so happy for me because it's like, yes, Pretty Poppy
Yeah.
has officially arrived on the Independence. And so that was my start at Tetsu Pro, based in Bristol. And then again, we fast forward to this year. I'm on another Tetsu show. And I thought, what's something cool I can do and give back because these people have given me so much as far as being behind me. And I thought, why don't I get some of my students in my entrance? And when I tell you their faces lit up, like it was so great for them to do that for them and for them to like be part of the show, come out there to Curran, which is something they never dreamed about doing at such a young age.
Right.
They came out in the gladiator singlets, came out the roses. They're like, yes, we're with Pretty Poppy. And to get that reaction from the crowd was really cool. Um, and then that same night was when Patrick Saint, in another match, said, "Who wants to see a dead body?" And mind you, this was after my match. I'm in the back. I have no recollection of what's going on out there. And I'm no longer with my students now. They're back in the stands. And these kids erupts, cheering. Yeah, we want to see a dead body. We like Patrick Saint. And when I heard that, I immediately said, and I told Patrick this after. I told Pat this. I did not tell them to cheer for that or say anything to you. So
Oh my
what
god.
a moment, man. It's wild. It's been wild.
These are the memories that we both, though, Pretty Poppy, as a fan and as an athlete, performer, professional wrestler. These are the memories that we both take home on the drive. All it be may it be a little further for some than others. Talking to our sibling that went with us, or like my dad, or my girl Karen and her son Josh, or whatever the case may be. These are the memories that will absolutely, that will never, and I only got one brain cell, my friend, that will never, ever, ever be forgotten for the rest of my living life. I'm telling you that. That was something, man. We've mentioned boys and girls, Tetsu Pro Wrestling, Tetsu Pro Wrestling out in Bristol, Test of Strength out of East Hartford. Look these people up. Give them a look see. The Nightmare Factory down in Georgia. Give an application if you're an aspiring wrestler. I know they're still doing their thing out there, as is Dustin at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, RWA.
Yes.
They're still doing their thing. And like Pretty Poppy was describing, Dustin, as he kind of, not the same formula, but he has a student showcase at the end of the camp. And man, good stuff. So if you're one of these aspiring wrestlers, look up these places that we're telling you about. Just give it. You have your phone in your hand all the time. I know I do, basically, when I'm not working. Um, yeah, I almost wanted to start with that story right off the ripper, but that would be way, way too advanced in the timeline, and I'd hate to really rewind so much. But I absolutely wanted to start with that story. I've been thinking of what I was going to start today with, and that story that we just spoke of was supposed to be the opening, but I couldn't have done that to the people or yourself. So I'm glad we progressively got there. Uh, I applaud you for taking your time out of your schedule to give to the community as a volunteer, because my goodness, look at those boys that came through the curtain with you, that are having such a blast, that are cheering for you, that are just behind you in your career right now, in your career, and as a mentor. Uh, Pretty Papi, you're an amazing human. I applaud you, sir.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
Now, you're talking, you would like to make this a long-term career. You want to make a
Mhm.
livelihood for this. Do you have any specific place? Because some have always had the big dub has always been on their mind from when they were a kid to when they started to in their process. WWE, it's all I've been bred to do. But there's been many, many options as of late. The AEW, the New Japan. I'm not saying that that's never been an option, but there are a multitude of options, more now than the history of the industry itself. Is the WWE your long-term goal, the big kahuna, or what do you got going on here, Pretty Pop?
I'll answer this in the two-parter. Um, First being, just like any opportunity, especially with Tesla Strings, that I get, I try to do the best that I can and put on the best. Again, going back to preparation, I try to do everything I can to put on the best performance, best match, and just be the best version of myself. So, if any door were to open, whether that be New Japan, WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, any promotion, I I think I'd be dumb enough to say no. Like I think you know the second part, obviously, the goal is WWE. That's always been the place that I wanted to be, the product that I've watched since I was a kid. WWE is what got me to fall in love with professional wrestling and sports entertainment. But again, if even if that's still the number one goal, I would not be opposed anywhere else because it's still another platform for me to do what I love on a bigger stage, make a little more money for me and my family, and a wider audience to showcase what I can do.
I feel, as a fan, you're on a great track here because of the look, of your charisma, of your promo, because you can talk, um, your gear. I know I bring up gear a lot, but it's such a big part that not everybody really, gets into. Um, so I think you're on an excellent track right now. Your character's amazing. I love to hate you. I think I've cheered for you one time since I've known you, and I don't even know what that was for. That I must have been drinking or on mushrooms or something. I don't know what the hell was going on.
It could have been the same show that the kids were on, but obviously
Maybe.
the reaction with Patrick saying kind of overshadowed anything and part of my match or that I did. But I mean, it is what it is.
I want to stick on this topic just for a little bit longer. The topic of family support system, the people around you, the village around One Pretty Poppy. I see your ma and some of your family come to these shows. Now you've been spreading your wings a little bit, and another promotion that is 3 events deep right now. They are on block 3, moving on to crown the first ever LIT Legacy is Timeless champion, and I've held that championship. It's 33 pounds. That's a third of my weight, basically. Holy shit, that thing is heavy. Um, you were at the last Legacy is Timeless event. Well, I know they didn't come out. Not all the fam and friends. I've been a musician for a long time. I know that the fam and friends can only take so much of venturing out and supporting and stuff. I get that, but you had your beautiful mama there, and I absolutely love seeing that support because we talk about support on STP all the time. But my point being, at this specific show, I was doing my thing. having fun with the cam, messing around with the buffs and being a pain in their ass and, doing whatever. Well, I seen your mom and we just started chit chatting off camera. I wouldn't record her. She wouldn't allow me any. So we had a little chat on the side, and I was talking to her about this specific topic, supporting Pretty Papi. I absolutely love seeing the family come out and all of his young, crazy minions at the boys' club and stuff really getting behind Pretty Papi. I love that as a fan. Absolutely warms my heart so much. We went to go our separate ways, and I go, "Excuse me, Mama Papi, can I ask you one quick question?" And she looked at me, Pretty Papi, like, what in the hell is Don Kincaid gonna ask me? She gave me the face. I've seen it. Believe me, I've seen it. And she gave it
It sounds like her.
I go, I don't want to record a video, but please, oh please, we've never gotten a picture together, and it would really piss off Pretty Pappy. She started laughing and she goes, I don't, okay. And we took a picture together. And I love those moments that I get to have with some of the talent that I've made friendships and relationships with. Pretty Poppy, I love your Mama Poppy. I love her so much.
Where are
She's
you going
fun.
with this?
No, 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 no. I love her to pieces because she was really scared for a couple seconds, but she did give me that picture, and it was amazing. But then I stick the camera in her face because I was asking her something. I believe it was at Tetsu or something. Tip! Nothing, nada. So me and her, it's a roller. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. She sees that I have a lot of fun. I think she has fun with the rapport when I do the ugly poppy stuff and we mess around. And I just absolutely, again, and I bring this full circle. I love the support that comes to the shows for Pretty Poppy. That is something that is near and dear to my heart as a musician, and I love it every chance I see it. So Pretty Poppy, that support system. Without that, I mean, my man, if you're just a lone wolf on the road trying to become a wrestler, I don't think you can succeed. But with a support system behind you, it's so much, it's different. I think you can. You have a better chance of succeeding. Talk to us about that support system.
Yeah. We're going back to my mom real quick, man. Wait till I say it. Wait. I had no idea about this photo, and now I'm gonna
Hey,
have to.
I did tag her. I tagged you actually because I don't know her.
Actually, yes, yes. Now I remember which one. I just don't recall the context behind it, but okay.
Oh shit! I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no, but it's funny you bring her up. She is definitely my number one fan, but it's so funny. Like we're so opposite as far as like being in the spotlight. She is definitely camera shy, does not want to be in the spotlight, does not want the attention on her. She'd rather it be on me and the focus to be on me. And yeah, she just wants, you know, just like any parent, I feel like they just want their kid to succeed. And obviously in our society, there's people who have different definitions of success. Um, Her, it's always been the same. Do what you love and be around the people that you love as well. Um, don't, when you make it to the top, don't forget about the people that got you there. So support system is something that's very important to me, whether that be family, friends, fans, and I feel like it's not just at attending the events and shows because I do understand how difficult that can be for fans, for family and friends to go to every single show, to make those trips. Um, I understand how taxing that can be, but it's not just going and being there physically, but also just the support, whether that be online, when I get the likes, the comments, like the compliments. When I run into fans or friends or family and they're telling me how proud they are of me and how it's so cool that what I'm doing and that I'm chasing my dreams and that I'm hitting the road. I actually just went back to the boys club this past Saturday. We did a little program for the wrestlers, teaching kids in the community who've never wrestled before. And I hadn't seen my coaching buddies in quite some time, and it felt like it was just another regular season, just catching up. And I remember them telling me like, "Man, you're doing great things. Like you got matches every month now." They're like, "Dude, when are you gonna get signed?" And I'm just like, it's comments like that that like really warm up my heart and like really mean a lot to me. Obviously, being on the other side, I know it doesn't necessarily work that way, but I definitely do hear and appreciate the comments. And even the comments that, may be negative, or, when I get called ugly poppy or whatever it is. As long as I get a reaction, and as long as I can either make somebody's day, or whether I make some people hate me and they get to just cheer for the other guy. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going home happy because they're spending their time to be with us at shows and events, and they get to whatever, BS is going on outside in their lives. They get to just come, have fun, de-stress, have a great time, escape reality. And that's
Mhm.
tying back to where I like to work as far as blurring the lines between reality and fiction, because I want to give the best. I want fans to go home happy at the end of the day, whether that be happy because I won or happy because I lost. No matter what it is, I want them to go home happy and have a great time at shows and events. So yeah, support is it's a big thing for me for sure.
I'm gonna go to the topic of fans because at Test of Strength, excuse me, at Test of Strength, there's a certain group of guys that come. They are still the stepdad squad. That's how they started off originally, and they
Mhm.
have melded, molded, transformed, if you will, into the Frost Force. Now, these boys as a collective are loud, proud of their fandom, no matter where they go, what promotion it is, and who comes out. But they go that extra mile. They absolutely love to bring the signs. And Joey G is the sign father. They call him the sign father, and Joey G. I like to call him Jackie G because I forgot his name for I don't know, first few months I met him, so I would just call him Jackie G. He handwrites with a pen, big construction paper, stuff like Dan the Man sucks, the mission is a fail, shit like that. But when Ugly Poppy started catching on a little bit, my guy brings out the old Ugly Poppy sign. We have a lot of fun with it. You see it, I know you do. But on the flip side of that, at the same exact time, at the same exact event or events, you also have part of that Frost Force being one Terry Duffy who makes on cardboard, regular brown cardboard, but he gets a little more creative. He has some, I don't know if he uses markers or paints, but that kid starts getting a little artistic and he comes up with some really cool, fun shit. Well, his daughter, Emma, Pretty Poppy, is her favorite wrestler. And Terry Duffy brings some amazing Pretty Poppy signs. Pretty Poppy gets boosted when Terry makes those signs. But then on the flip side, in the same camp, in the same faction, if you will, Joey G, he's got the ugly Poppy sign right there at the same token. Talk to us about you coming out through the curtain as an athlete, a professional wrestler, and getting this feeling in your heart, in your gut, in your mind, wherever it goes, because we don't know these things when we come out the curtain because we don't get out. We don't come through that curtain. You do. Could you share maybe the feelings that might come across when you come through and you see the yin and yang, if you will? They're not always ugly Poppy and pretty Poppy. There might be one or the other. But talk to us about these signs and stuff when you come through, because we were talking about the support system and fans. And the fans is a very, very big part of that dance between us and yourself. Talk to us about seeing the pretty poppy sign and the ugly poppy sign.
So this is what I love about professional wrestling. And again, I love to be a professional wrestler. I love to wrestle. I love to compete. But if I just wanted to wrestle and fight and compete, in all honesty, I would have continued my amateur wrestling career and I would have probably tried to go for the UFC or something. But with professional wrestling, you get everything as far as athleticism, a competition, entertainment. And there's no other place but pro wrestling where you could get that one-on-one fan interaction. And for fans to come and like bring signs and cheer or boo you, like it really shows that they are invested in what we're doing.
Yes.
So for guys like Joey G and Terry to bring signs, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. Like it's some of the best things I've ever seen. Like, and the way that they're so creative with it, it just part of me wants to laugh, and then part of me is like, depending on what is written, it's like I get so amped up, like how dare they? But like, who gave them the right? But in all honesty, the fans have that right, and they have the right to. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a call in the middle of our thing,
Okay.
and I am trying to hang up. There we go.
You're
Yes,
still good. You're still
I'm still
good.
good. All right,
Yes.
I do apologize. The unprofessionalism of somebody interrupting this podcast. All right, I put do not disturb. Let's hope that works. Sorry about that. Let me reel back. We're live, pal.
Yeah.
So going back, going back to the signs. Yes, I think it's great because even if it says ugly poppy, like that really adds to the show because, and again, and this goes back to reality and fiction. Like when I go to shows and events, I have no idea what fans are writing. I have no idea what fans are coming with and coming at me with. So when I go through that curtain, it is a genuine reaction of me reacting to what they have written down and have put up in the air and what they're saying to me. So, and I think it's great because, again, like Wags would tell us, we're live and you're like, there's no cut. It's not like we're not actors. It's not cut. It's not take two. Like, no, this is go time. So I think it's great because it's another element to make me think on my feet and react and just have fun. Like the biggest reason why I got into this is because not only because I love it, because it's so much fun. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's physical. It's very real to me, but having fun with those fans and like the signs and whether it says ugly poppy, okay, cool. Well, guess what? Now as a wrestler, I get to take your sign and I get to rip it up. And on top of that, because I've seen some wrestlers do that in the past. Oh, I hate what you wrote. I mean, rip it up and throw it. No. What do I do? What does Pretty Poppy do? He goes the extra mile. He not only will rip it up, but he will wipe his behind with it as if it's toilet paper and then give it back to said Joey G or Terry or whoever wants to write those, not so nice things to Pretty Poppy. But on the other hand, when I do have that support from the crowds and when they are behind me, it's an awesome feeling. And I know Patrick Saint talked about it on the last episode was that's like the greatest thing ever is to have your name, to have somebody take the time to make a sign for you. It means a lot, honestly. Like it's one of the best feelings ever. Um, and then getting that reaction, that live, raw, or at least for me, that live, authentic reaction when I come out. That's some of the most fun I have, to be honest. And it's with those interactions with fans that bring the signs. And I'm trying not to talk about Terry's daughter because I don't want to get beat up by him if I. But for whatever reason. I mean, she seems to like me, so I guess I'm doing my job right. I mean, the daughter
Uh,
likes me, the dad might not. So it is what it is.
uh, he might, he might, because he does make some pretty cool signs. So I may get signs mixed up. Again, I only got one brain cell, so you just got to bear with me. But I do have a very important question. Is this your card? And what is this business? You're teaming up with Magic Man, or he's coming out with you at a Rise Up 2, and what the hell? What in the holy bullshit is going on with you and Magic? That dude pisses me off. I don't like the Magic Man. Talk to talk to us about the Magic, and also, is this your card for real? Is this your card?
It kind of looks like my card. I mean, it's
Okay.
red, so it might be my card. Um,
What is this relationship you got going on with Magic Man and Rise Up 2? And please tell us the date and time and place and all of the deets of Rise Up 2, please, sir.
so I'll be honest. I never saw myself, especially this early in my career, to be in a tag team or to have a tag team partner or an ally. I thought that my debut match at the Nightmare Factory was the only tag team match I was ever going to have. And it just so happened last year, I was in a match where I needed to find a partner. Again, at the time, not liked by many, not beloved by the fans. I had to face the TOS young boy and Jermaine, basketball star, Marbury. And I was in search of a tag partner. And I'm still training at the Fields Dojo, looking at all the young boys, trying to see, looking at all the new recruits, who wants to team up with Pretty Papi. And it just so happened that the Magic Man was one of the very few, but the best person that I could have picked for that match. And yeah, I know. I see the reaction. It's an odd pairing. It's a very odd pairing. You got a magician and a pretty boy teaming up. One's from Bristol, one's from Vegas, like complete opposite ends of the country. What could go wrong? But when I tell you it just works, like I don't know what it is, but the chemistry with us, it just works. And I think we have some of the most entertaining things out there right now on the independents, and we are just getting started. So the Magic Man has not only become a tag partner, an ally, he's become a very close friend of mine. And it's pretty cool because I met the Magic Man when I first came to the TOS dojo. And he was
Oh, okay.
also a TOS student in training. And
Okay.
it was cool that, you know, thanks to the power that may be, and thanks to myself, I was able to give the Magic Man his debut in professional wrestling at that training day in our tag team match. And now I have a match coming up at our next TOS event, Rise Up 2. Have a one-on-one match, me versus Travis Jacobs. And I got the Magic Man in my corner.
Well, you're gonna have to pull some magic because Travis Jacob is one big dude. That's a big dude.
Yeah.
Skilled, Monster Factory champion, former, if you will. Um, that guy's no joke. So you're gonna need a little. And I'm not taking anything away from Pretty Poppy boys and girls. Gonna perform a little magic in order to get the over, if you will, on one Travis Jacobs. Uh, where is Rise Up 2 being held, my friend?
So that one is going to be in West Hartford, Connecticut, and that is going to be this Friday night. It's going to be at Warehouse. I believe it's 635 or 365. Was it the
It's
first one?
635.
You see, I always remember the name, but like the numbers, I always listen. Even though I went to college, I'm not the brightest, to come out. So, but yes, it's gonna be there. I'm very excited. We uh, wrestled and we've had a event there before in the past for TOS.
Mhm.
Beautiful venue. It's one of my favorites.
Very different.
very different, and it's actually become one of my favorites to wrestle in. So I'm excited to go back.
Mhm.
And yeah, I have my literally my biggest opponent that I've ever faced, and
Wow.
Travis Jacobs.
Now, I wanted to ask you when we were talking about kind of getting away from the home base when Tetsu gave you that call, you had the blessing to move forward. Um, you're not going to be at home. You may run into one of your TOS brethren over there. You never know because of the kinship and the area and stuff. So you might be going against somebody from TOS, but probably on a higher percentage, you won't. You're going to be going about against somebody you've never met before, you've never seen work before. You're going in and at Tetsu, a six-sided ring, um, going into a new promotion, six-sided ring, and I talk about that six-sided ring an awful lot on here. And just I don't know who I'm going against at Tetsu Strength. Feeling a little more comfortable. I'm at home. La la la. Talk to us about, was it much more nervous than any other gig coming out?
Oh, for sure. I'd be lying to say it wasn't, especially when Tatsu Pro having that six-sided ring, and it was my very first independent wrestling event where I was on the card. It was very nerve-wracking, but it was also exciting at the same time because, again, growing up a wrestling fan, I used to watch TNA. That six-sided ring was very intriguing to me. How they wrestled in it, how, again, first time, how am I going to move around in here? Is it going to feel different? And it was definitely different, but not different. I know that doesn't really make sense, but it was different in the sense of just the structure itself
Mhm.
and maybe, you know, moving around in the ring. But I still felt at home as far as being in the ring, being in front of a crowd, going through the curtain, and just doing everything I can to put on the best match. So definitely felt a little different, I will say. But just like any other professional wrestling ring, it's not a trampoline. It's not a bouncy house. It's a dangerous environment. And if
Yes.
you aren't trained and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get really hurt in there. So, and that's again, like I say, it's very real to me when I go through between those ropes.
Right.
So, but yeah, Tetsu and the six-sided ring, definitely cool, and exciting, um, but not too different from any other ring that I've been in.
All right. Excuse me. Uh, you've been branching out a little here, a little there, outside of the dojo. Uh, and I know there's again, wrestling is more prominent now than it's ever been in the history of its industry. Do you have your eyes set on anywhere specific that you'd like to maybe tackle? May it be somewhere in Rhode Island or Massachusetts or an NEW that's kind of, do you have any certain promotions you have in your sights right now?
It's funny you mentioned NEW because that was actually one of my first promotions growing up that I went to live and attended as a fan.
Okay.
And again, even before I went to the Nightmare Factory, I had actually met Cody prior to that at a NEW show. And this was again after he left WWE. He was just starting AEW, and he was still doing some of these dates and the independents.
And he was their champion for a while, but was he their champion at the time that you're speaking of?
At the time, no, this was after, but this was after he was champion.
Okay.
I believe this was a time when him and the Elite were kind of recruiting talent, so they were going throughout the country and different shows and just popping up. So yeah, NEW was one of the shows that like really again pushed me to like want to pursue professional wrestling. So it's definitely somewhere I have my eye on.
Mhm.
And As far as out of state, honestly, anywhere and everywhere. I definitely want to keep branching out, not just in Connecticut, but
Okay.
Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, everywhere in New England, and then even when I am able to, or when the opportunity comes, down south, West Coast,
Hmm.
Midwest, just everywhere I can, just to get that experience and get that exposure,
Yeah.
and again, just live the life that I set out to live, which was to become a professional wrestler and travel and see the world and do what I love.
Mm. We've had an hour and a half of beautiful talk, conversation, chill, as Dickie Moon would say, with Pretty Poppy. This isn't how we're at the shows. Just like my previous one last week was Anytime Alan Bano. I've never even talked to the guy. I've only yelled at him, and he's only yelled back. We had an amazing conversation as well. Pretty Poppy, this was a little different for me because I'm usually yelling, not prof, and that's the thing too with the Frost Force, not vulgar, not profane. You know, they have fun. They get creative with their writing. They get creative with their artwork or whatever. Same thing with me. I'm not vulgar with Pretty Poppy. I'll throw him some ugly poppy and some booze and maybe, say some other stupid shit, but I'm never vulgar. We just have a lot of fun. And it's that dance that we do at the events. And we've had a lot of fun since we've met, my friend. Tons of fun uh, with Pretty Poppy at the events. But Pretty Poppy, there will be two things before I let you go. But before I do, have I not taken the time for any topic that you may have wanted to speak on that I haven't asked a question of? Because I can yak. We can go for another hour if you want, but I know you can only take so much of me, and I know the fans can only take so much of me. So, is there a topic that we haven't spoken about yet?
I think we've pretty much hit all of them. I will say probably the only topic is I guess my journey through test of strength and TOS, and then pretty much what I'm doing now currently. I know we talked
Okay.
about Rise Up too, but other than that,
Okay. Uh, then please, what is Pretty Poppy doing? Are you going for another bachelor's degree?
I actually so just to
Nah.
pull the current back a little bit, and this will actually be exclusive.
Oh,
You're the first platform to hear
thank you.
this publicly. Um, I am actually going for another degree. I'm actually going the next step up for a master's degree. So I
Oh,
like to say the bachelor, soon to become the master.
Master Papi. Oh, Master Papi. Dude, congratulations, my friend. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, uh, and just a lot of mind power. I only got one brain cell, so you're the man.
Thank
Congratulations,
you.
my friend.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
and absolutely the best of luck in that. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm all choked up here with Pretty Poppy. And I know you've only been in the business for a couple years now, a few years. But is there maybe a little funny story or an anecdote that you can share with us, the fans, that happened? Maybe at a hotel or at a restaurant or on the road or anything that's maybe popped up in the journey of one Pretty Poppy's career with the boys, if you will. Nothing to get you arrested or anything like that. Just something that you thought of that might be funny to the fans that we might not be talking about at the merch tables, if you will.
Ooh, that's a really good question, actually. Um,
If it involves Red Sawyer, I'm sure he wasn't on his meds.
oh, Red Sawyer. He is the best way to describe that man. He is an interesting character, literally an interesting character, to say the least.
I didn't mean to break your train of thought, but that's what I do. I'm sorry.
No, no problem. Kind of caught me off guard with this question. I like it.
Oh,
I don't
my
know.
10 of
I feel
diamonds.
like, oh, you dropping stuff over there?
My 10 of
Oh,
diamonds.
turn it off.
uh,
But I feel like I always have a good time with the boys in the back. Not to draw the current too far back, but and then I can actually incorporate some of my TOS journey into this also. because starting with TOS, even though I came from the Nightmare Factory, I wasn't initially booked. I wasn't initially um, put on the card as one of the TOS guys. So I had to work my way up again. It kind of was like starting over. So like it was pretty cool because I paid my dues and I got to set up the ring. I got to ring the bell. I got to be a cameraman. I got to work security, work the door. I got to bring all the wrestlers' ring gear back from the ring, back to backstage. I got to do a lot and pretty much I would say everything except refereeing. And again, TOS is the place where we're not just going to teach you how to wrestle. We're going to teach you about the business and how to pay your dues. And again, I say I got to do all those things. Not that I had to, not that I didn't want to. I got to. I was privileged to do all of that stuff. So just traveling the road, even at that stage, and being backstage with the boys, and like thinking this is the coolest thing ever. Like I can't wait for my time to shine. And then I guess something, you know, little entertaining is probably like I'm gonna throw this guy under the bus a little bit, but I think it's one of the funniest stories, and it has to do with one of my trainers, Bobby Ocean.
Yes, yes.
um, so there's an event. Um, I won't even go into too much detail because like the story tells itself. Is there's an event I'm helping out at, and the card stacked. We got great matches top to bottom, and Bobby Ocean is in one of them. And again, I'm not on the card. I'm not wrestling at this point. I'm still helping backstage and the setup. And there's a match where Bobby's music hits, and it's time for Bobby to come out and wrestle. Bobby's nowhere to be found.
Oh shit.
And and they're like asking, "Where's Bobby? Where's Bobby?" So there's me over here scrambling around the entire venue. Bobby, 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 where's Bobby Ocean? Just to get all the way back towards the curtain to find Bobby finally come out and come out to the crowd. He has his match. And then after the match, I go up to him. I go, where the hell were you? I was looking for you. They asked me to help find you. Oh, I had to take a piss.
uh, if there isn't anything that Bobby Ocean is straightforward, no punches pulled. Yes, he has a sense of humor, but he's not the biggest jokester, and he's more he's more forward than anything. Thank you, Pretty Poppy, for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that tomorrow when I go to the dojo.
I swear I won't clip it and highlight it. I swear I won't do that. It'll be
Okay.
on later, boys and girls. It'll be on later. We were talking about Rise Up 2, upcoming this Friday. Are there any dates that the fans need to be aware of that we can go see Pretty Poppy at?
Yes, so dates, I will say, so this Friday, July 19th, I will be at Test of Strength for Rise Up 2. Then later on this month, I will be at LIT for Fired Up, and that
Ooh.
is July 28th. I believe that's on a Sunday in the afternoon. So
Yes.
definitely come out and see us.
2:00.
Yes, 2:00. And then from there, I'd say more TOS events and LITs. I know we have TOS House Rules 4, which is going to be in August 9th. And former WWE wrestler Reggie, or Scripps, as you may have known him, will be there in the house. Yeah. And then we are building towards TOS Fight for Your Dreams 7.
I can't believe there's 7 already. Oh my god.
You know what I love about this? It's Fight for Your Dreams 7 on September 7th.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So I'm very excited for that because ever since I came to TOS, I had two goals as far as like what shows I wanted to be on in particular and wrestle on. The first one was Undeniable because that was the very first TOS event where I went on the road with them and helped them backstage and paid my dues. And I accomplished that a couple months back at Undeniable when I was on the card. And then Fight for Your Dreams, which is
Mm,
pretty much our WrestleMania. It is our biggest event of the year.
yes, it
And
is.
I know last year kind of I was part of the show, but I didn't have a match. I was a lumberjack in the Patrick Saint versus Dan the Man match.
Hmm.
So now my goal for this year is to have a match and be in the card for Fight for Your Dreams. So
Nice.
I will, whether that be in a tag match with the Magic Man, singles match, whatever it may be, Pretty Poppy will be at Fight for Your Dreams. And
Well,
just
I
like
missed
I've
the
been,
last.
oh, go ahead.
I did miss the last one, so I got to be at this next one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this I'm looking very much forward to this.
yeah.
So yes, be at Fight for Your Dreams because just like I'm fighting to keep this dream alive, I will be there to fight and entertain and anything else for the
You know
fans.
how they do the what do you fight for? When Fight for Your Dreams first started, they were coming up with separate graphics
Mhm.
for Frosty and El Jabroni. Oh, God, I miss El Jabroni so much. Elijah Six and Sammy uh, and I know they don't really do that anymore, but I may be putting you on the spot before we let you go here, my friend. What does Pretty Poppy fight for?
Ooh, I'm actually happy you asked me this question because um, actually yesterday, we're gonna pulling back the current a bit. I was doing a little bit of Instagram stalking, nothing crazy, no, not on a person, but on the Test of Strength Instagram page. And I was just curious, like, hey, like, what have they been posting, like, even before I got there? And
Right.
kind of giving myself like a history lesson. So it's funny that you brought that up because I did see those match graphics and posters that they made. I know like Dickie Moon had his and it said, "What do you fight for? I fight for peace." And there's so many different creative ones that I loved. I would say Pretty Poppy fights for love. And
Oh,
yeah.
Poppy fights for love.
But when I say that, it means so many different things, not just romantic with like, me and a woman, but like I love professional wrestling. I love the business. I just I love going out there and being in front of people. And it's so crazy because growing up, I was such a shy kid. I was horrible at public speaking and now facing my fears and getting to be in front of an audience in a live crowd in front of cameras and all that. So yeah, Pretty Poppy fights for love.
Oh, Pretty Poppy fights for love. I'm so glad I asked that question. That was very pertinent. You know what? That might be the title of this episode because I already picked out three different things that I was going to call this episode. But now that you've said that, and Fight for Your Dreams is coming up, maybe the maybe the GMX will see the title of that Poppy. Pretty Poppy fights for love. In quotation marks. He's gonna see it and be like, you know what? I need that kid on Fight for Your Dream 7. I think we're gonna push for Poppy. We're gonna push for Pretty Poppy. uh, now, before I do let you go, my friend, and it's been an amazing evening with Pretty Poppy. Thank you for everything that you've shared. Um, we need to find Pretty Poppy, the fans that don't know him, or even the fans that do know him, but didn't realize he might have a couple extra socials that we didn't know about. The Twitter, X, whatever, the face page, the Pornhub, whatever you've got. I mean, come on, come on, Pretty Poppy, like you ain't got a Pornhub handle. Please. But
Wrong business.
my bad. I'm sorry. Hit us with the socials so we can get out there and hang out with Pretty Poppy.
So you guys can find me at the Pretty Poppy, all lowercase, the Pretty Poppy on Instagram. Currently working on getting my Twitter back or X now. Now that's changed, and also working on getting TikTok and also my Facebook finalized. But for now, I post everything related to Pretty Poppy on at the Pretty Poppy on Instagram.
Okay. Thank you for that info. Without that, we can't find you because that's the way it is nowadays with the socials. Ah, boys and girls. Another fine interview, another fine sit down, another fine conversation with yet one of our favorite locals that we go see live right here, talking about the journey, talking about being prepared. He's had messages, he's had quotes, he's had advice. He is a mentor. He started at the Nightmare Factory. We could go on and on about the last hour, 40 some odd minutes we've been with Pretty Poppy. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your schedule, hanging with us, the fans, and just really kind of pulling the Bobby Ocean's gonna kick your ass. Pulling the curtain back just a little bit. I appreciate that, my friend. We thank you so much for your time, and I cannot appreciate it enough. With that being said, boys and girls, do you have your sunglasses with you, my friend?
Yes,
We
I
need
do.
this. Yeah, we need this. We need this. Boys and girls, this has been Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and our, oh shit, I can't see, our very special guest, Pretty Poppy. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, my man. You've been awesome.